My dad's death was the worst thing I've ever been through, but the best thing that ever happened to me. The radiologist came in with a deadpan delivery. He said, "Good news, your dad's liver is okay. He doesn't have liver failure. Bad news, your dad's portal vein is obliterated. We don't know what caused it. We can't help. Good luck." On to the next patient. Whatever you have going on in a relationship with your parents, if it's mendable, mend it. And I've made that video before and people will say, "But you just don't understand. I'm special, I'm unique." No, you're not. You're hurt, they're hurt. If you can suspend the ego long enough to say what you need to say, even if it's, "Hey mom, hey dad, you hurt me and I just need you to hear it," independent of how they receive it, because maybe they can't because they don't know how.
What is the most important thing a parent can give a child?
Their time. And one of my dad's favorite is, how do you spell love? T-I-M-E. 3 days before he died, as he sits in the hospital bed, always said it, but it's just to hear it in that moment. He said, "Thank you for everything, but above all else, thank you for your time."
Death. What matters at the end of life?
Oh God.
If you really want to change your life, let go. Let it all go. That desire to be heard or understood, let it go. That wrestling you do when you try not to feel the grief, the pain, the anger, the sadness, or whatever you're experiencing at the current emotional state you're in, let that wrestle go. If you really want to change your life, you need to surrender. The delta between the way you think things should be and the way that things actually are in reality, that's suffering. And it's created by us. Let all that shit go. And life will be righteous. Those are the words of our guest today. Michael Smoak, known as Higher Up Wellness by his 1 million+ followers across social media, is a globally recognized content creator, public speaker, and coach. But those are titles that merely scratch the surface of the spirit this man infuses into his mission. One of my favorite quotes is by Carl Jung. He says, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And I believe the greatest testament I can share of this man is the manner in which he invites us all into a world of that which is most personal, most authentic, and most true, in the name of helping others achieve the gift of being who they are. His content triggers those who are committed to being a victim and transforms those ripe for his words. The definition of building in public, he has boldly been both vulnerable and vain, but all in the name of inspiring a generation of people to be bigger and braver with their life. Today, I'm on the edge of my seat to traverse the gamut from pain, purpose, grief, greatness, death, and devotion, and do it all in a manner that affords the viewer digestible, tangible information, so that, to honor his most popular statement, they can leave here with the utmost clarity that to truly change your life, it isn't easy, but it is simple. So without further ado, Michael Smoak, welcome to the show.
Wow. That's a hell of an introduction, my friend. I hope we can stack up to it with this conversation.
What was, you just did Leila, right? Leila Hormozi.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Awesome. Leila was great. I didn't know this, but so I interviewed her. I flew to Vegas for 18 hours from France. I went France, Atlanta, Vegas. It's a very chaotic leg of travel. And I got there and we interviewed her at, I was alone, at acquisition.com at their headquarters, which is the old UFC gym in Vegas.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Big proper headquarters, big place, really beautiful building. She was so kind, so warm, but also I think Leila she's very feminine 'cause she's a lady.
Mm-hmm.
So she brings an edge to business with her masculine decision-making that I think makes her very special.
Yeah.
She's also a great communicator. I didn't know this though, but it's kind of funny. They sent me the raw footage for me to edit. And I asked them to do that.
They sent you the footage for you to edit.
They send us all the cameras, all the audio. Here, do what you will with it. And I'm in the Google Drive, and it's clearly a video file, audio file, video file, audio file, and then there's an image. And I go, that's weird. I don't remember taking a photo. And I click into it, and it's her and Alex holding the baby onesie, announcing that they're pregnant. And I was like, I don't think I'm supposed to have this.
That was before it went.
Yeah, days. And I sent it to her, and I said, hey, congrats, I think. Is this a joke? Is this supposed to be in here? And she said, oh my God, we really do run a tight ship security-wise here. You're not supposed to have that. Please keep it quiet. And then 2 days later, they announced their pregnancy.
Wow.
So I found out early.
Mate, you're the first one.
Yeah.
What
and
an honor.
she's such a trooper, dude. This pregnancy's been beating her down.
Yeah.
And she said, I didn't tell you this, but I was throwing up all morning right up until our interview. So she was just dealing with horrible morning sickness. And I think it's just a testament to people that are cut from a different cloth or view the world a certain way. She came in there, she was dialed. The interview feedback has been incredible.
Yeah.
And the whole time she was just in pain and uncomfortable, and I never guessed.
And you never would have known.
Never knew.
Wow.
I know. She's awesome.
Did you see him?
Yeah, they were also, their whole team, drinking the Kool-Aid, bought into the culture. A bunch of young guys in there actually watched the content. And so we started chopping it up, and they let me work in their office with them and get to know them a little bit. And then on my way out, they fed me lunch. On my way out, Leila's assistant said, Alex is actually running one of his workshops. Do you want to go just sit in and watch? And it's those famous clips of him with the paper notepad behind him.
Yeah.
The entrepreneurs come up and ask him questions, and I just got to get all that value for free. And it's just, he is also in the realm of simplifying things. It's amazing how people can come to him. And I think this is a testament to great coaches and great leaders and great God-given gift teachers, is these people come to him with these problems that are burdening them with complexity. And he just goes, well, didn't you think of this? And it's one sentence, and they go, wow, no, I didn't. I'll just do that. And it's just in one sentence, it's a problem solved.
Was there anything he said that hasn't left you?
Focus. Because I do a lot of things, even in my brand. I'm known for 4 or 5 different topics in what I do. And there were a lot of people that were in this energetic space of, I have this thing that I'm building here, but I have something I want to focus on here. And I'm half doing both. And his consistent advice kept coming back to, you need to cut something off for the other thing to grow. And I think of one guy who was growing a coffee business, and it was crushing in the franchise space, but he wanted to start this e-com, and he was just passionate about it. He didn't know why. And Alex basically took him to, if the goal is business, revenue, and exit, which it was, you need to focus on what's working. I think there's a greater testament to that I've seen a lot of in my life, which is that we have a finite amount of energy in every single day. Mental energy, spiritual energy, it needs to be repleted. If you sit here and you interview people all day, you're going to be tired. You're going to be exhausted. You need to eat. You need to sleep. And I think when we occupy our energy in people, in business ventures, in decisions that aren't serving us, that energy exists in this sort of ball right here, and it's flowing downward and upward. And until you cut off what's flowing downward, you can't make the space for all of the good that's flowing upward to fill the gap. And I found that true in friendships, in business partnerships, in romantic relationships especially. People hanging on to things that don't quite serve them, and there's the fear of cutting it off because of the familiarity that it brings. And if you can sever that tie to the thing, you can create space for the thing that's supposed to be there to occupy the space. But you can't get what you need until you let go of what you have.
Yeah, it's such a bold and in the vein of your philosophy, it isn't easy, but it is simple. That in a world in which people are trying to add more as the solution to all of their problems seems like a very valid and plainly basic, but at the same time, one of the most challenging things to do is to remove the clutter from your life in order to create space for more to come in.
Yeah, it's the reductionist mindset. It's taking things down to as lean as possible. You're right. Most people are adding and optimizing and self-developing. They're adding layers on top of poor foundations. I had a conversation with my coach, Kian Lagi, who actually is here in San Diego. I got to see him today, and we don't see each other much. He's all over the world doing crazy stuff. But we had this conversation of self-development versus self-actualization. Self-development, a lot of people are insecure, fearful, scared, emotionally underdeveloped. And then they try to build all of these achievements, accolades, and attributes on top of those things to almost bury them. When in reality, the real work comes in pulling away what's not essential to get to your essence, to your spirit, the thing that I think God gave us. Childlike faith, childlike wonder. There's such a source of power in being childlike that people build on top of instead of peeling the layers of the onion, if you will, metaphorically, to get to, because that is an uncomfortable process. I think the best I've ever heard it put is, Kian said to me, I don't want to help you maximize your potential. I want to explore the parts of you that don't want you to do that. And that's been transformational for me. Not easy to do. It's not easy to face those deep, dark parts of us. Simple to understand.
I know. I know you've interviewed him as well. 2 days ago, we had Peter Crone on
amazing.
the show. And his whole philosophy is that I don't solve problems, I dissolve them.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to become and everything to let go of. And it was just crazy to me to see how he unpacked what I thought was my challenge and helped me see something that I had no fucking idea was even there. Like, I've been living in a world, just to give you some context, in which it's not safe to be me my whole life. And he said to me, why is that insane? And I couldn't get to the answer. He said, because you can't not be you. You cannot be you. And he said his work and his world centers around, like you just stripping away everything that's in the way, because your essence is abundance. Your essence is love and light. Your essence is. I just thought that was so deeply profound. And it speaks to where I really want to go with you, which is at the beginning here, this conversation around God. And maybe the essence of our connection with God being in the absence of this belief or this narrative that it is all up to me. And I want to read you a quote, if I can, that came from you. You said, a relationship with the Lord doesn't really ever allow for loneliness. I have a deep, visceral knowing that he's real and he's with me and he's in my life. He's shown up for me in ways that I could never, ever explain. You couldn't convince me that they're coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious from you, what's a moment in your life in which the truth of the existence of God was made undeniable?
There's two stories that come up. You got time?
I got all the time in the world, mate. Yeah, please.
If they come and kick us out of here, we'll figure something out. We'll turn it into a walking podcast. So 2 years ago, March of 2024, I blew my entire life up as I knew it. I was with somebody for a long time. I lived with her. We dated for almost 5 years. And so for all intents and purposes, every formation of my identity as an adult was tied to a relationship also that I was in. And those years are really formative for people, 23 to 27.
Yeah.
Or 22 to 26, I think, somewhere in that realm. And there was this deep knowing, as I said, that I wasn't where I was supposed to be in this relationship. To no fault of her own, just the way things go sometimes. And I stretched it out and I drug it out. And I finally got to the point where I knew it was time to let go. And there's obviously logistical details and there's the day-to-day of actually doing that. People say like we broke up, but we lived together. We shared items in a home. We had a home. We had a dog. And this is probably the first time I've opened up in detail because I want to obviously respect her confidentiality.
Yeah.
And there's absolutely no bad blood there. She's wonderful. But when I look at that, I'll tell you exactly what happened because with missing context, the story just doesn't make as much sense.
Yeah.
We had gotten to the point where it was time to move to the next location together into a new house back home where she lives about 5 hours from where I grew up and where my parents live. And I'm not proud of this. And it spoke deeper to the work I needed to do, my desire to not lead my own life and try to please people. People pleasing was my big thing to overcome. It got to the point where it was down to the wire of the lease for the new apartment was in front of us to move in 2 months. And I just said, while she was 200 miles away, we were doing this over the phone. I said, I can't do this. I'm sorry. Something's not right. I can't do this with you. And that was very hard because even though it was time to go, it's life as you know it is over. And there's a grieving process that comes with that. All of that to say, I was 1 or 2 decisions away from moving 250 miles from my parents. Instead, I go, okay, it's time to move home, lick my wounds, and figure out where I want to live next. I'm 26 years old. I've lived out of my parents' home for 4 years. What now? Let me just go home, spend some time with mom and dad and figure it out. And that, when I moved home, was when I found out that something wasn't right with my dad. He just looked thin, and I heard he wasn't traveling as much. And it had only been a month since I had seen him, so things were happening quickly. He looked different. I said, you look thin, you seem low energy, what's wrong? And he just said, I don't know, Bubby, I'm just sick. And no one seems to know why. And in the background, he had been going to doctor's appointments, getting scans, getting blood work. Nobody knew what was wrong with him, but I knew he wasn't right. And so I went on this tear of meeting with holistic medicine doctors, Eastern medicine doctors, Western medicine doctors, understanding the terminology because that's the world I was in with health and wellness, My dad is super overwhelmed with jargon and supplementation and lifestyle changes. He's a 70-year-old man.
Yeah.
He's lived a certain way his whole life. And on top of that, he just seems to be getting sick and doesn't know why, which has got to be a really hard feeling. Losing weight, can't eat, strange symptoms happening to the body, just losing autonomy and agency, and no one can help. And there was this moment, we had a Zoom call with a doctor who got very in depth, and it was very complex, the conversation. And it was me and my dad sitting like this next to each other on Zoom with him on the other end. And we write down this protocol that he needs to follow because at the time we thought it would help. And my dad had no clue what this guy was saying, didn't know a thing, but I did. We're carrying the conversation. Close the laptop. He's walking out of his office. I'm sitting there writing notes, and he is walking, and this is 2 weeks post breakup. So I'm still going through it. He's walking out of his office and he stops and he turns around and he says, I know you're here for kind of a shitty reason, but I think you're also here to help me with this. And I think God put you here. And at the time I went, you know what? That feels good. What I didn't know was that God would put me there to care for him for 7 months until he died. And I look back on this retroactively and I think how much grief and guilt and pain I would be carrying if I knew that my dad was going through all of this and I lived 300 miles away, and all of the feelings I had to feel and all of the negotiating I had to do with myself to ultimately rip off the Band-Aid to get to be with my best friend for the last 7 months of his life, to support my mom because it was hard for her. And it was just she and I at one point being full-time caretakers. He got so sick. He went from playing golf and traveling every week to bedbound in 7 months. And when I look at that part of my life, that's one instance where I say, you can't tell me that just by chance I got to do that with him, because that's why I have no grief and I carry no pain. We had every conversation. I went through things that completely broke me and shattered my ego that made me more resilient today for the things I didn't know I was going to face, that I've since faced, that now don't faze me because my threshold for pain and stress is so high.
Yeah.
And so I'm so grateful for that experience. So the fact that God ripped me, and sometimes they say like God will rip you from a situation to put you where you need to be. And it hurts now.
Yeah.
You don't know what I'm doing now, but soon you will understand.
Yeah.
Like, why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
Why did I need to blow up this relationship? And now I'm here.
Yeah.
2 years later and I go, thank God.
Yeah.
I didn't move 5 hours away.
Wow.
It's the first thing that I'm eternally grateful for, and probably the biggest one. And the second one was about 8 months after he died. Grief is a funny thing. Is the analogy, it's like an ocean. Some days the waves are at your ankles and some days you get hit in the chest with a 10-footer. And I was just really going through it. I was going through it and I was really stressed about my business. I felt very uncertain. I felt a little bit lost. And it might sound insignificant in retrospect, but I had drifted away and fallen away a little bit. I'd stopped reading. I'd stopped praying.
Yeah.
And I was on the way to New York and I said verbatim, big man, I need you to show me something. I need something to know you're with me because I feel really, really alone right now. And when I got to New York, I received a text from somebody I hadn't heard from in 2 months, a mentor that we just hadn't communicated in a while. And with no prior context and no prior conversation, he sends me a YouTube video of his business partner, someone who he knows I look up to tremendously. And I'll tell you what it is. It's a podcast called Mind Pump, very famous fitness podcast. Adam Schafer was the one who sent me the message of Sal, his co-host, sharing his testimony for the first time ever. He publicly proclaimed Christ is Lord. I'm a Christian now. I am fully converted. And in there, Sal talked about suffering and the fear of being perceived when it came to talking about his faith online, which is a really big struggle that I was having because I felt God was calling me to talk about it on my platform. And I watched the video and it's like Sal was talking directly to me and the issues I was having. And Adam just followed that video with, I don't know why, but I felt really called to send you this. I hope you enjoy it. He could have sent that to anybody, but it was exactly what I needed. And that's what God gives you. Exactly what you need, no more, no less. And not even what you know you needed. It's the opposite of what I thought I needed. It's exactly what my heart and my soul needed. And it seems small, but in that moment, it just felt like a hug, like he was listening. And those are the two things that come to mind for me.
Do you have to ask first to be open enough to receive the message?
Yes. I think that's a big part. Jesus in the Bible talks about he who has eyes, let him hear, he who has ears, let him hear, he who has eyes, let him see. You cannot hear me because your hearts have been hardened. And a big part of hearing God's voice is being open to the message. It's like if you and I are in an argument, we're in a disagreement, and I know I'm right, you think you're right, you know you're right, and there's this anger.
Yeah.
You're not really listening to understand, you're listening to respond.
Yes.
And listening to understand is a big part of hearing that little whisper in the back of our head. And sometimes suffering is what does that, being broken.
Yeah.
And just saying like, you know what? I've looked everywhere but up. It's time to look up. And so I do think people can't hear that and can't receive that because of pride, because of ego, because they think they have to carry it all out. They have to take care of all of it. I don't think I'm driving. I think I'm rowing. I think I got to move, but I think he's steering.
When did you first realize that you're not driving?
Are you familiar with people in faith and Christianity talk about supernatural peace, a peace that transcends all understanding?
Briefly familiar. But
basically, you're okay with something and you don't really even know why, and on paper you kind of shouldn't be. The moment that I gave up and gave it over, the moment that I actually just surrendered my life to Christ, was in the car in October. It was either October 3rd. It was either September 3rd or October 3rd. But it was a few days after we found out there was nothing they could do to save my dad. They went in for a surgery. They thought there was a procedure they could do. And they found out the structure they needed to operate on was, in the words of the radiologist, obliterated. There's nothing to operate on.
That was his language, obliterated.
Yes. I'll never forget that.
What was it like to hear that?
Oh gosh, dude, it was like a kick in the chest. Because I knew, and my mom knew, and he knew, my dad, that was the end. The radiologist came in with a deadpan delivery. He said, "Good news, your dad's liver is okay. He doesn't have liver failure. Bad news, your dad's portal vein is obliterated. I've been doing this for 20 years. I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen damage this extensive. We don't know what caused it. We can't help. Good luck." On to the next patient. And that was his death sentence. And by
you
that,
were in the room?
We were all in the room, yeah. Yeah.
What were those just 2 minutes like after he walked out?
Probably a bit of denial, a bit of shock. It's like receiving life-changing news in the moment. You don't really know. My gut knew.
Is there any anger at the absence of, it sounds like maybe an absence of compassion for the situation?
Yeah, and it's interesting you bring that up because there was a span in my content where I was a bit silent about what was going on.
Yeah.
I was continuing to show up and continuing to post because I had an obligation to do that.
Yeah.
And people started saying, "Is anyone noticing that he seems really angry lately?" It's because I was.
Yeah.
And all of my, and this is the pillar of one of my friend Gabriel's beliefs: suppression of expression leads to depression.
So good.
I wasn't voicing anything. I wasn't talking to anybody. I couldn't even talk about what was happening without breaking down. And so the undertone of everything I was doing and how I was operating was from a place of anger. And so other people noticed it in 1-minute videos. That's how bad it had gotten.
Yeah.
It was that notice. It was all over my fucking face.
Yeah.
And at that point, I got mad at Western healthcare. I realized that doctors are just people and not these superheroes in lab coats that we deem them to be. They're just people, and they get confused and they don't have answers. But ultimately, what it led to was this surrender. I was in so much pain. I had been arguing with doctors, nutritionists, my dad for months, and I was just so tired. I was just so tired. It was at the point where it was just like truly getting out of bed was impossible, it felt like. But I did it. And you can too. Whoever's going through that thing that feels like they can't peel themselves out of bed, you can, I promise, and you have to. But I had gotten to that point where it just felt like the best analogy I can use, I think I mentioned this analogy when I was talking to Elliot on his show, was I realized that it was like I was holding a hot pan and wondering why I was getting burned. It's because a lot of my pain was rooted in trying to change it, in trying to argue, in trying to book more meetings.
Mm.
And when I just let go in the car and I said the one thing that I had put off saying for months, God, if it's your will for my life, for my dad to die, I know you'll help me make it something worthwhile. And like that, it was like I had just been washed with peace. And that doesn't mean I didn't have hard days. That doesn't mean I didn't get emotional. Doesn't mean I didn't cry. Doesn't mean I didn't get angry. But it was like there was just a cover over me that I knew I could feel those emotions and I was still okay.
Oh, wow.
And that's what led me to be able to talk about it, is that safety.
Oh, wow. It's a great quote. I believe it might be Joe Hudson.
Yeah.
Art of Accomplishment. And he said, most people want peace, but they don't want to feel powerless. And oftentimes the only way to peace is through powerlessness.
That's beautiful, man.
And it sounds like inside of that sense of powerlessness was the surrender that you needed to find the peace that allowed you to maybe actually have a relationship with your dad for his final days.
Yes. Yes. I think inside of surrender is submission, and submission to something greater than yourself, submission to a will for your life that's beyond your understanding. But this can be hard for a man. Yeah. Submission energetically, the act of submission is a feminine act, right? Receiving energy information is an energetically, this isn't a man versus woman thing. Just energetically, submission is a feminine thing.
Yeah.
The Bible says, wives submit to your husbands, husbands submit to God, to Christ. And for dudes who want to be drivers and masculine and leaders, the act of submission to a masculine figure, to an authority, it's like hard for young boys to submit to authority.
Yeah.
So it's like, who are you to tell me what to do?
Yeah.
And inside of surrender, inside of powerlessness is submission. And that was me just going, I get it. You're driving. I'm not.
Yeah.
Help me make this something worthwhile.
Yeah.
And it's part of why I'm here today. I'm so grateful. It makes people uncomfortable, but I did a live show in London, and it was the first time I ever said this. It just came up. I said, my dad's death was the worst thing I've ever been through, but the best thing that ever happened to me. And people came up to me after and said, that made me really uncomfortable, because they had lost parents too. They didn't lose them. Their parents died.
PC.
Peter.
Shout out PC.
Peter coached me out of that. But what I mean by that is that it was the worst thing I've ever been through. It was 7 months of agony, nervous system in fight or flight constantly, indescribable. Sometimes when I do go back there, I get emotional because I haven't put my body in that situation emotionally in a long time. And I revisited it with somebody recently that I was spending some time with, and I did have some of those emotions come back up, and it was beautiful to revisit. But I say it's the best thing that ever happened to me because I've been able to take that and use it to help people with the same problem. And that's the essence of purpose, this thing that people struggle to find. That's probably the number one question I get asked. How do I find my purpose in life? What am I supposed to do here? Your purpose in life is to take what God delivered you from and turn around and help other people do that. And so I'm lacking nothing in the way of fulfillment because I've been able to do that. And I'm thankful for that.
That is unbelievably beautiful. And I really want to stay, if you're comfortable with it, on the topic of your dad.
Yeah.
Because truthfully, I've danced in different seasons of my relationship with my dad, and he's still here. And hearing you speak and honor your dad in the way you do has shifted the way that I perceive my own father, truthfully. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
For me, whose parents are still alive, there's an abundance of questions I have around this, but really what I want to know is, what are the questions that I need to ask my parents before they die?
I did this. It was very hard, but I interviewed him when we knew he wasn't going to make it. I strapped a mic to him. I have these mics at home, these Shure mics, but this was late November and he died in January. So by this point, he was legitimately too weak to hold one of these for an hour. And so I strapped a little Rode wireless mic to his shirt. And I just knew in my heart that God gave me the gift of this channel, this platform, which gave me the awareness that I could record things. I could capture moments. And I did so much of that just with my phone. I'd throw it in the corner while we're cooking and talking, and I have so many little moments. But I deliberately interviewed him in a podcast style. And I bought a book, and I used some of the tips from the book, some of the ones I just asked because I wanted to. The book is something like, it was a TikTok shop ad. It got me.
It got you.
It got me.
It got you.
And I was scrolling, and it was something to the effect of, while your parents are still here, ask them these questions.
Oh, I've seen that book.
Yeah. And they're not all great in there. Some of them are awesome, but it's like 100 questions to ask your parents before they die. And, I think I would encourage you to learn more about what they were like as kids. I hadn't really asked my dad what he was like when he was 16. And I think it's really, in a weird way, we forget that they were children because they're supposed to be parents. That's just how I've always known you. When I picture my dad, I picture him big, burly, dark-haired, mid-60s. I can't.
He's been like that since he was 8.
Exactly. He came out the womb looking like that.
Yeah.
And he was a boy once. He was a little boy with wonders and dreams and insecurities and fears.
Yeah.
And so I went there with him. I asked him what the house he grew up in was like. I asked him to describe it for me. I'm going to go see it when I'm home next. I never saw the house. It's still there.
Wow.
I asked him what my grandparents were like with him growing up, their dynamic as father and mother and son, and what they did in the neighborhood. And I found out all these cool things. My grandparents used to host this neighborhood-wide party with hundreds of people every year. It was a huge deal in the town, and they were the ones that did that. They were a cornerstone of their community. So I would encourage you to ask what they were like, what your dad was like, what your mom was like when they were young. And I think something powerful that does is, I don't know the extent of the ups and downs of the relationship you had with your dad.
Yeah.
But it sounds like there have been downs, which implies some anger, some negativity, some disagreements. It really did a good job of reminding me that it's their first time being alive too. And that when I put myself in my dad's shoes in 20 years, I'm not going to know what the hell I'm doing raising a kid. I'm going to be doing my best.
Yeah.
And it gave me a lot of grace and empathy for him. And we had a beautiful relationship.
Yeah.
He was no perfect man, but he was my best friend.
Oh, wow.
And I think if you can suspend your ego and just try to get to know him as a person and humanize him more as just a person and a friend for a moment rather than just a parental figure, that's a really fun place to go. And he probably hasn't revisited it in a long time. I don't know if it's painful. I don't know if it's positive.
Yeah.
I would understand those parts of him. And I can't tell you what these questions are, but there were things that I'd always wanted to ask my dad that, because of, frankly, my fear of uncomfortable conversations, I never did.
Yeah.
You know?
What?
Like, I really wanted to ask him about his first marriage and why it didn't work out. Because he was married to someone else before he got with my mom and had me. And my parents dated when they were my age. And they wouldn't tell me about it. I was like, oh, my dad was an asshole or something.
Yeah,
what don't I know?
Yeah.
And so I dug into that. I dug into his life when he was my age. I dug into what happened with you and mom. Things that I didn't know if I could go there. And I just said, I don't have time to wonder. I need to ask.
Yeah.
If you don't want to tell me, great. At least I asked.
At least you asked, yeah.
So knowing him in these chapters of his life that I cannot ever have an awareness of if I don't talk about it was huge for me. I asked him, this was where it really got hard, I asked him all the things to the best of my ability that I would want to know at paramount points in my life. I asked him to look into the camera and talk to me on my wedding day. I asked him to give my future wife advice. I asked him to talk to his grandkids. That's so hard, man. Because we both knew why I was doing it.
Yeah.
By this point, we'd already had a conversation where it was he, my mom, and myself. We were he was on the couch. My mom was sitting on the dining room table. I was sitting in the chair. And we were talking about what comes next after this news following the surgery. We started talking and game planning, and he just said, stop. We know where this is going. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, I'm going to die. There's no way out of this. And that was not easy for us to hear, but we knew he was right. And so asking those questions, talk about fortifying your
I
mind.
can't imagine.
It was the worst thing I've ever probably had to do outside of some of the care that I had to administer. But I'm so grateful I did it.
Yeah.
And what a powerful lesson for life. The things we least want to do are often the things that we most need to do. And now I've got that forever. Now, I'll be honest with you, I haven't had the heart to go review the footage yet.
I was going to ask you if you listened to it.
No. It's sitting in Riverside, stored in the cloud. It's about 5 hours. I sat down with him for an hour, 4 or 5 times, till he got too tired. There's things in there that I don't even remember being said, probably. There's people ask me if I'd ever put stuff on the internet. There's definitely things that can't go on the internet because he's a 70-year-old dude and he said some crazy shit.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I encourage everyone to interview their parents, document things. I have a notes list in my iPhone. I was just trying to capture every single moment that I could. And I just have, it's titled Things Pop Said and the Words to Remember Down the Road. And it's just little snippets, conversations, things he said just out of the side of his mouth when I was walking out the house.
What are they? What are some of the biggest ones that have really stuck with you?
Dude, it's tough. I don't know. I mean, they're over there. I have pillars that my dad taught me that I'll never forget. Those are like, oh, thank you. Let's see. There's pillars that my dad taught me that I'll never forget. Lessons and learnings and things that he sort of beat into my head in a positive way. Let's see where they are.
That's one of the things that I am really fascinated to understand from my dad. Similar to what you said, my dad was married previously and he's been going through a divorce with my mum over the past couple of years. And there's so many things that I have felt like in the aversion to having an uncomfortable conversation with him. They're just questions that are left unanswered.
That's it.
But even bigger than that, these things, like I've never sort of looked at my dad, at least in the past decade of my life, as someone who carries wisdom, but he carries wisdom. And to hear his perspective and his own little sound bites, I think would touch me in unimaginable ways. And I think there's maybe a part of him that would be so empowered to hear his son want to know and want to learn and want to understand from, I mean, you might tell me differently, but I don't know if there's anything more empowering for a dad than to hear his son say, teach me, you know?
We all want to be seen, heard, and understood. It doesn't matter if it's a 55-year-old father of 3 or a 7-year-old boy, because deep down, we're all that 7-year-old boy.
Yeah.
You know, we want to be loved. We want to know we're enough. We want to be important. We want to belong, and we want to be heard. And he might be a grown man and he might be your dad, but the sense of importance, independent of the relationship you may or may not have, that you can gain when your own blood says, I just want to learn from you. I mean, I can't think of anything that would make me feel more complete in life than my flesh and blood being like, please, I want to learn from you.
Yeah.
And I think that it's a beautiful gift to have that. For whatever reason, I can't find the notes. It's a lot of, oh wow. Yeah. I've got my dad's eulogy in here. That's interesting. I don't know where it went. It's somewhere in my notes here. But the things, one thing I just pulled up, the 5 biggest things my dad taught me. I might not have all the quips and the conversations that you asked me to pull up, because they were really truly like just the way you'd be sitting in the car with your dad having conversations, and the things you'd seemingly forget. I just tried to write down.
There was a sunset one that I heard you talk about.
Yeah, that's in this note right here. There were these pillars of teachings that my dad Pavlovian conditioned into me repeatedly. It was as often as possible. And the one you're alluding to, we spent a lot of time in the car playing sports. He was driving me home. He was always coaching. And that led to a lot of summer nights headed out at sunset. And when we'd catch one, he loved sunsets. He loved just beautiful things. He loved appreciating the beauty of life. We'd be in the middle of a conversation, or we wouldn't. It'd be silent. And he'd just tap me and go, check that out. And I'd be tunnel vision. I'd be on my phone, or I'd be looking straight ahead, and I'd catch it. And he would say some collection of these words. Another day gone, No dress rehearsals, no do-overs. Got to make every day count. Sometimes it's a beautiful sunset. I hope you never forget long after I'm gone. And he would always say that, long after I'm gone. I hope you never forget to take a moment to look around, look up, take a deep breath, take a step back. That was his baseline. And a lot of what he taught me, I realized in hindsight, was either scriptural or deeply spiritual. It was meditation, is what he was teaching me, is when things get stressed, step out of your head and into your body, breathe, and look around and just be present, be where your feet are. And it was his way of telling me to always ground myself in something bigger than me. The sunset, the vastness of that, the presence of that, God's presence. I don't know if he knew he was doing that. It seems like he was some sort of wizard when I look back on the way he was teaching me things. And that was a huge one for me. And I try to tell people that because people live life like racehorses. Ironic timing, given we've got the horse races here in San Diego. But what do they put on those horses before they go out? Blinders. Because they can only see ahead of them. They can't see the horse next to them. And my dad used to say people live life with their blinders on. We'd be driving down the highway. People are only looking straight ahead. He would always tell me, look in the mirrors, look behind you, look in the rear view, look out, look ahead, never look straight down. And there were so many moments where we were doing that together in the car and we'd catch an eagle or a hawk or a cool plane. Just something neat to notice that nobody next to you saw because they're like this, straight ahead. And he would just go, you see what you miss when you don't look around? So many cool little wonders of life. And it's so simple, man. It's so simple.
Well, it sounds like your dad might have been the early infuser of your now philosophy on life.
You might be right.
So simple.
You might be right.
Some of the greatest lessons in life are the ones that we often take for granted because they're just too simple.
They're too simple. It can't possibly be that simple. Life has to be more complex than that. It has to be harder. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. We're not put here. We're not supposed to be unhappy. We're not supposed to suffer in perpetuity. We're not supposed to be miserable. This life is meant to be lived. It is meant to be enjoyed. We are meant to be challenged because that's what fulfills us. That's what makes us complete. And makes us understand who we are and what we're made of. But for the love of God, no pun intended, we're supposed to have a good time while we're here. It's a 1 in 400 trillion chance that you're going to be born. And you think you're supposed to hate every second of it? How dare you? Lighten up. It's not that serious. That's the thing that I come back to every day. I said I have the privilege of my apartment facing almost due west. So I get to catch the sunset every night. And I just say, hey, Pop, thanks again. I don't know why I feel called to share this with you. It just happened. It's a bit vulnerable and it's interesting. The other night I was with a friend and we were out on my patio just looking at, it was nighttime. It was pitch dark. We were just looking at the sky and the moon was beautiful. And there's a big thing in my family with the moon. Sunset, sunrises, the moon. Just like things to notice the beauty of the world. Apparently my first words were the moon. So
not mom, not dad, moon.
No. Apparently I was a year and a half old, 2 years old, and I looked up and pointed and I went, the moon.
The moon.
I couldn't really
What's that guy on Instagram that he talks like that? Yo, dog, the
moon.
Dog.
It was D-A, moon.
The moon.
And so when it was like pretty or beautiful, I had a group chat with my family. They would say like, the moon. Like, just like, go check it out. Go look at it. It's beautiful. And I was telling her about it. I was like, man, that's really beautiful. And for whatever reason, I just went, I hope my dad is proud of me and everything that's happened. Because so much has happened since he died. It's been a year and a half. I just said, I really hope he's proud of me. And part of me hopes he can see everything that's going on. And she just quickly responded, he most certainly is. And as soon as she said that, within the second, the one pocket of no clouds where the moon was, because it's June gloom at this time in San Diego, the clouds. The moon is the only thing in visibility. Like it's out of a fucking Nicholas Sparks movie. As soon as she said that, a massive shooting star right over the moon. And it just felt, it's funny. It might be a little corny, but it just felt like a nod. It's like, what are the odds of that?
Yeah.
I could have been looking anywhere else. I could have not stepped out onto the balcony. And I just felt like I see it. I'm here. Just little things like that
Yeah.
that I would have missed if I forgot to look up.
Yeah.
And I think those little gifts are for everybody.
Oh, so much.
They're there for everybody.
Yeah. I can't remember who said this, but you can either live in a world in which everything is a miracle or nothing is a miracle.
Yeah.
Who was it that said that? I can't remember. But it sounds like the way that you view life is through the lens that everything's a miracle.
Everything. Waking up every morning is a miracle. My dad used to say every morning he'd take me to school, Obituary is full of people that had other plans today.
Another one.
Another one.
You don't even need your note, mate. They're all coming.
No, I'm telling Pavlovian.
Pavlovian.
It's in here forever. The dinner bell rings and my
They're
mouth
all
starts
coming
watering.
out.
I know it. I know, but it's right. He's right. He would say that. My grandfather would say, when I was in a bad mood, my grandfather would say, some poor son of a bitch woke up in a Mexican prison.
The darker version of your dad's.
Yeah. And I said,
was a nice version. Plenty of people in the obituary that thought they had the day. And what
And
was
he
your
was-
grandfather's? What was it? What did he say?
some poor son of a bitch woke up in a Mexican prison this morning, and it ain't you. Be grateful. And it's crude, but it's like, shit, you're right. Let me perk up. Perk up.
Yeah.
Intentional gratitude is powerful, man. And I'm thankful for the lessons he bestowed in me to be brought back to center.
Do you only experience that level of gratitude since his passing, or those words that you're sharing now, could you receive them then?
Oh, that's such a great question. I think that's correct. I think I knew them and now I feel them. It's so deeply embodied. I think I told somebody for some reason on the 1-year anniversary of Dad's passing, his name was also Michael, for the record, Michael Lee Smoak. I'm Michael Thomas Smoak.
Yeah.
We were both named after Thomas Lee. Oh, you rat bastard.
There he is.
It's the day my sister got married.
That's the day your sister got married.
Yeah.
Your
Hey,
sister's
Jamie.
name? Hey, Jamie.
Yeah. Not a lot of people know what my old man looks like because the few photos I've posted, you can't really see his face, but that's him. This is the version I told you when I think about my dad. Healthy, whole, this is 2010. Healthy, whole, strong, deep, raspy voice. That's what I think of right there. I'll leave you right there, old man. What was I talking about?
It's okay, man. That's your dad.
Yeah, that's my boy. That's my best friend.
That's your boy.
Miss him every day.
You miss him every day.
And he just had this way of understanding and appreciating the brevity of life. And I told somebody on the 1-year anniversary of my dad's death, I don't know why this happened at that point, because it's been a year. It's almost like I had gotten to the processing point of the grief and could see with pure clarity. But on the 1-year anniversary of his death, I was with my family, and it was like this powerful kick in the chest of conviction of the brevity of life. And so when you ask me, do you think that I understood those things as deeply as I do now or really appreciate them? No, I don't think I could have with him still here. I think that in a lot of ways, my dad did have to die for me to become who I was supposed to be. And one of the things that I have is a deep appreciation for every day that I get because of him and what he taught me, and then what I got to see him go through. The most high agency person I'd ever met lose the agency, and how quickly that can go. I was on the phone with my mom a couple weeks ago, and she was struggling with this, and she was like, my dad's birthday is in 4 days, July 21st, 1953. It's July 17th as we record this. She's like, I'm really struggling. Like, this was supposed to be the year that your dad and I retired and had all of the plans. This was the year, 2026. He was done. They were going to move. They were going to travel. They had plans. My dad had plans. He was a guy who was 70, healthy, active, mobile, strong. He had plans. And we all have plans that we put off. We have things we want to try, places we want to go, and we don't do it because it's not convenient or it's a little tight in the budget or I just have too much going on. And then we blink and a year has passed. I'm still guilty of that.
Mhm.
I'm working every day to identify those things and move with speed and conviction towards them. But it's so easy to just take for granted the most precious thing we have, which is our life. I'll do it next year. You don't know. And I know it's cliche because you haven't lived it, but you can, Marcus Aurelius, you could leave this life tomorrow. Let that dictate what you do, say, and think. That's how he lived. He lived an incredibly full life, but he still had plans that he never got to realize for himself, with my mom. And fortunately or unfortunately, my dad's body failed him, but his mind didn't. He was sharp until his last breath. And I'm so grateful for that. But the byproduct of that was being, in his words, a prisoner in his own body. And when you're a prisoner in your own body, he would say, like, I'm forced to replay the movie of my life over and over again. I just sit here and I think because I'm stuck. And he didn't have many regrets. But when I think about my life, truly I'm terrified to get to the point in my life where, God willing, my mind is intact, maybe my body fails. I can still think and talk to my loved ones. But there's going to come a time when I'm alone, I'm old, and I'm thinking about everything I did do, and more importantly, I'm thinking about everything I didn't do. And I'm terrified to get to that point in my life and have more what ifs than oh wells. He did not have very many what ifs, and I admire him for that. But I think there's a lot of people living life that if they had their agency taken from them, if they had their health taken from them, they would be living in the misery and the hell of infinite what ifs. And that's what I feel like I'm here to do. I just want to remind you that you're alive and that could end now. I could walk out of this podcast with you and get hit by a car. Morbid, unlikely, sure. Possible and true, also yes.
Yeah.
And so I wake up every day and the first thing I do is what he used to do. Thank you, God, for another day. Thank you for breath in my lungs. Thank you for feet that work, legs that move, a neck that's a little sore because I got tossed in a wave yesterday, but a body that's functional and capable because it can take me to places like this podcast studio with you, albeit a little late. Thank you for your patience. I apologize. I'm grateful from everything from the tip of my head to the tip of my feet, and then I just move. I just start making decisions. And I just want people to live life with that conviction, and I don't want people to have to go through what I went through to get there. I want them to trust me. And I think that's a problem with young men and high performers in general. They hear this great advice from smart people who've been there, they've done the thing. Jim Carrey, one of my favorite quotes of all time, I hope everybody can get rich and famous and have everything they ever wanted so they can realize it's not the answer. And a lot of young men will go, great, I'm going to go do it anyway.
Yeah.
I want you to hear me when I say life is short, it is precious, and you can leave it at any moment, and I just want you to trust me. I don't want you to have to take care of a dying parent. I don't want you to have to bathe and feed your best friend who's supposed to be your father and your role model and your source of safety. I don't want you to have to do that to know what I know. I just want you to believe me and start living that way. And that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do.
Your father's physical presence is obviously no longer with us, but it seems to me you have a deep spiritual connection with him. If you could formulate a question for him that you still want to know that might be answered in the coming days, weeks, months, and years, what would that question be?
I feel like I'd know the answer. Just maybe a good thing. What do you want me to do when it all feels like too much? Because like this was the guy. I mean, his messages are still pinned in my phone. But this is who I called when it was all too much. When I was thinking about moving away after college and taking a job I wasn't sure about, I called him. When I was thinking about leaving corporate America to do this internet thing full time, I called him. Yeah. When I had every big win, my first sale in corporate, my first big commission check, my first sale as an entrepreneur, I called him. When me and my girlfriend were on the fritz, I called him. when I was just having a bad day and I didn't know why. He would call it the green meanies. It's like anxiety. He was just fucking old. So I think the word anxiety didn't exist.
What would your grandpa have called it? If your dad called it the green meanies, what's the darker version of that?
He'd probably just say like, quit being a bitch or something.
Quit being a bitch.
He was rough around the edges.
Being a bitch.
He was a good man, but he'd be like, sack up and keep going.
Sack up.
That's what happens when you're born in 1929 in the Depression. You've got fortitude, man. Testicular fortitude.
Testicular fortitude.
But he was the guy I called when shit was hitting the fan, and he would tell me, when everybody's losing their shit because it's hitting the fan, you keep yours intact. And there's just moments since he's died where the career has gotten crazy, man.
Yeah.
And I get stressed, and it's like I told my friend, some days I'm on top of the world, and some days I can feel the weight of it bearing down on my shoulders. And on both days, I want to call him. But on the days it feels like it's pressing on the back of my head, I just want to ask him, like, what do I do? And I know what he'd tell me. Take a deep breath, take a step back, look around, look up. It's okay. You're going to be all right. Bat back, elbow up, green swing. That's a totally separate thing. But when we want to do it's unrelated. I'm a little all over the place with this. But,
no, it's good.
I played baseball growing up.
Yeah.
Do
we have one of you, baseball? Do we have a baseball?
Dude, if you found a baseball pick, you went deep in the motherfucking archives. Holy shit.
We have a baseball one of you, mate.
Bro, how did you find this photo? I feel like I'm in a Nardwar interview right now. It's like Travis Scott. How do you know that? You're Travis Scott. It's our job to know.
Travis Scott.
So this is me. I'm 16 years old, probably at this point, fresh off a baseball tournament. And wow, that's funny. I remember this day. I remember that's Will, that's Sam. That's funny, man. I haven't seen this in ages. I had a hitting instructor, and there was this cue for a baseball swing. When it wasn't the swing you wanted, you said red. When it was, you said green. Try to replicate that. Green, green, green.
Yeah.
You pulled it, red. You want to hit it up the middle, green. And so our metaphor for crushing it in life, before I had a big speaking engagement or a big sales call, he'd go bat back, elbow up, green swing. Green swing. And that's like, I still say that before I went on stage in London. Green swing.
Green swing.
Hit it down the middle, crush it. And I think of moments like that, those little things you develop with people that make no sense to the outside world, but it's a language that we spoke together. And he'd probably tell me those. I think that's probably what he'd tell me. And I take a lot of appreciation in you asking me that, but comfort in knowing I'm almost certain that that's what he would say.
Yeah. It sounds like when you share that who you've become on the other side of his passing and it being the greatest catalyst of your life, it sounds like some of that is because he is now in you, and the voice that you used to have to go to, which was outside of you, you now have in you.
What a powerful perspective.
And I'm curious if that is partly what it means to be a man in the world, or coming of age, is the things that you maybe once needed someone else for, you now have that inner voice of truth with you.
It's beautiful that you brought this up. And it's because I have a friend named Chris Turner who lives in Atlanta. And the Dead Dads Under 30 Club is not really booming with members that I know personally. And Chris is one of those people. Chris and I weren't best friends. We've gotten a lot closer. But he was in Atlanta when I was living in Atlanta. He's a little older than me. And Chris's dad died about a year before mine. And it was a different situation. It was sick, gone in maybe a few weeks, maybe a couple of months. And he wasn't there when his dad passed. He couldn't be there. And I remember I asked Chris to go on a run. This was probably 3 or 4 months into the journey of my dad's illness, and I knew that things were just getting worse fast. And I was also very much not prepared to fully process the grief as it was coming, because when someone dies slowly, you grieve in that process. And he said something to me I'll never forget. You bring up coming of age. He brought up an interesting point that in our culture, there's no clear coming of man ritual or ceremony. There's no delineation from boyhood to manhood. I mean, to the best of what I could assume or guess or aim it at, it's you hit puberty and you kind of become a teenager and then you just graduate college and go to work. but there's no welcome to adulthood, you're here. And in other cultures across the world, maybe more primitive cultures, albeit, they have this thing that you have to do. I have a friend, Natty, who grew up in Uganda.
Wow.
And he had to kill a cow as his coming of man. He had to kill the cow with his bare hands. And that's a bit crude, but like that action is the delineation of boyhood to manhood.
Yeah.
The Maasai tribe, they do things like this as well. It used to be going to get a lion. Now it's a cow. He did it with the Maasai tribe. But it's this, you've made it. You're here. Welcome. And we don't get that.
No.
And Chris brought up that the day he got his phone call that his dad had died was the day he became a man. And he used the analogy of the Lion King. You know, in the Lion King, Mufasa dies when Simba's a cub, and Simba leaves the pack to go on this great adventure. And he experiences near death and adversity and challenges, and he makes these great friends along the way, and then he comes back and he's king of the pride. And that was his coming of man. That's the coming of man journey just personified into a movie, a Disney movie about animals. But it's a much more serious undertone. And I think for young men, that delineation of the death of the father is like, now I'm the head of the household. I'm the last man, as my grandpa would say, the last button in Lincoln's coat. And I'm literally the last man in my family. If I die, the Smoak name dies, which is sort of an interesting primitive pressure. I'm like, I gotta.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
I need to breed a son. I need to further the bloodline. But it's true. I feel more like a man in the realm of my certainty and my identity, my relationship with God, my comfort in the things that I once feared to show the world, and embracing and understanding that they are what make me unique and make me valuable to the world. My sense of identity is just strong. But that wouldn't have happened if he hadn't have died. And so I think the coming of age ritual, if you will, unfortunately, is the death of a father for a lot of young men. It's not easy to say. It's not fun to endure by any means, but it's important. And it's the closest thing we have in this culture to that, I think.
Can you get around that? Like, if you haven't lost your father yet, can you get around that?
You could go kill a cow with the Maasai.
I might do that with my dad. Maybe I'll do that with my dad.
That'd be a pretty
Let's
epic
go kill
experience.
a cow as a coming of age experience.
You know, I don't know, man, especially in American culture. Can you get around it? I think you can challenge yourself. You can manufacture adversity, training, hard challenges. You know, I love Jesse Itzler's Misogi.
Yeah, big time.
These big challenges that really teach you who you are and force you to commit to something that scares you. I think those all strengthen your sense of identity. But I don't think we can bypass moments in our life when it feels like you just have the wind ripped out of your chest and you have to figure out who you actually are. I think that's the essence of a man is can you show up with love and compassion and do what needs to be done when it feels impossible? I had to show up for clients. I had to show up for my mom. I had to show up for my dad. I had to show up for myself because I was training for a High Rocks at the time. And all I wanted to do was just lay in bed and cry.
This is really interesting, mate, because when I was doing my research for this pod and I went back in your Instagram feed to around the time when your father passed, thinking I'd see like a break in posting, there was no break.
No.
There was no break. And it made me curious to want to know like your philosophy around that. You know, you kept showing up. You said it earlier in this pod, I had things that I had committed to. And it seems like almost like despite circumstance, you followed through. And I really want to understand your philosophy around that.
Yeah, no one's asked me that before. But you're right, I didn't miss. I didn't miss a post. I didn't miss a podcast. I had a business at the time. I was fully coaching people. All the while, my life is just falling apart in the background, or at least it feels like it. I guess for the longest time, I had been preaching to people the importance of building systems that can endure. James Clear says we don't rise to the level of our goals, but fall to the level of our systems. And in a way, there's a couple things that come to mind. In a way, what I went through with him was the ultimate test. Can I stick to these systems I've built? Because my whole argument is you need to do things, you need to build a life that you can adhere to independent of your emotional state or external stimulus. Because a lot of times that's what holds people back. People make emotional decisions that throw them off track. I don't have to think about the gym because it's 4 minutes away. I didn't have to think about getting in the ice bath because it was outside my door. Minimal friction between me and the behavior. And so, in the most emotional turmoil I had ever experienced, could I do the thing I was telling people they needed to do? And if I couldn't, who was I to tell them? And so in a way, maybe I felt like I had something to prove. In a big way, I think God was giving me the strength supernaturally to do that so I could have a conversation like this and be asked, how did I do it? And say, by no strength of my own, through him. And now I know not only can I do what I need to do, no matter what the hell I have going on, but I know people can do it too. There's a clip that I uploaded recently, not that I uploaded, that I revisited. I was looking through old clips from my podcast, and I made a podcast episode 2 or 3 days after he died, saying that he had died. And one of the first things I did was sit down and record a podcast, and I put it out. And I think about this a lot, that at the end of the day, no matter what you have going on, no matter how indescribably painful it is, how hopeless it seems, at the end of the day, you have a choice. You have to decide. You can sit in your circumstances and be defined by them and run by them, or you can succeed in spite of them. And I would say that, and people would say, but Michael, you just don't understand. You don't know. You don't understand. And they were right. At that time, when I was making TikToks, telling people not to be fat in 2023, I didn't know what it was like. I didn't know what it was like to feel pain so deep that you couldn't get out of bed. I didn't know what it was like to open your eyes and immediately be met with fear that I could go down there and I would peek into the bedroom door and just see if his stomach was rising and falling. And as soon as I open my eyes, I feel that fear and that angst. 24 hours a day, I leave the house. Is he going to fall? Am I going to get a call from my mom? Because that happened. Is she going to barge into my room at 3 a.m. and say, he's bleeding, he fell, I need your help, we need to call an ambulance? That happened. I know what it's like to feel like there's nowhere to go and to still go anyway. And so my philosophy through that time was, if I don't show up for myself, because that's really what it was about. It was about me. Who am I to tell people that they need to do that too? And now I'm okay to disagree with somebody that says, but you don't understand. And I say, I love you, but I do.
I was going to say, is that giving you a new sense of conviction in your messaging?
Boy, has it. I have empathy and patience for people that say that, but I don't have tolerance. I think there's a difference. I feel what you feel. I know pain. I also know it's still not an excuse, and I know you still have to decide to sit in it or move past it or move in parallel with the pain. And I also know that this too shall pass, whatever you're going through. That's something that my dad said to me on Thanksgiving. It was just he and I sitting on the couch eating. The rest of the family was in the other room, and we were just talking, and I just broke down. Just broke down because it was bad. He was sick. And he used to tell me, be like a duck, calm on the surface, paddling like hell underneath. But
my girlfriend just said I'm like a duck in therapy, couples therapy, like last week. Part of me thinks it's a good thing, or part of me doesn't know. She's like, you look calm on the surface, but underneath.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And he used to tell me to be that way. And he said that, and then it led to a big emotional release, and he just stopped eating, and he said, get up. He stood up, and he hugged me, and he said, this too shall pass, my little duck. And he was right. He died, and it was horrible, but I got through it. And so I do have a newfound conviction, and I'm grateful because now I can really get there with people, and they can listen to me because they know I know pain. They can assume I don't, but once they find out, they can hear me, because empathy is the root of human connection and the root of a changed mind. Chris Voss talks about tactical empathy. If people don't understand or don't feel like you know where they're coming from, they don't care where you're coming from. People don't care how much you know till they know how much you care.
Mm.
And I care.
Yeah. Has it humbled you?
Dude, has it humbled me? In what regard?
It reminds me of the land a baton on Chris Williamson's podcast, The Best Men Have Been Broken.
You know that clip was on our show.
That was your show?
When he goes, Orlando Barton said to me, yeah, he's
That
talking to me. That clip, yeah.
I don't know the context of why he said it, but my experience of you is you're one of those men.
Yeah. They said, what did Baton say? There's a look in their eyes.
There's a look in their eye.
I go to a church when I'm in Atlanta called 2819. And Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell is the pastor of that church, and he has gained worldwide notoriety. Fastest growing church in the world.
Wow.
From 100 members to 200,000 in the congregation in probably 18 months. And
hang on, 100 members.
100 members in the seats to 200,000 worldwide. You can't even get in that church now. It's impossible. And this man is anointed. It's incredible to listen to him preach. And he's a big part of how I got through the season with my dad. And you talk about ways God shows up for people. This is the best way I can explain to you the answer to the question, has it humbled me? Every December, 2819 church takes a bit of a break where there's no sermons for 2 or 3 weeks. No church. We'll see you in January. And in one of those weekends, on a Sunday, I was sitting on a couch and I went, I need to watch church. But they're on rest. They're on sabbatical. So I just need to go pick one. And there's 3 years worth of YouTube videos, hundreds, maybe thousands of sermons. I could pick any one. And I'm scrolling. I get to about a year ago. And I just pick one, Wisdom and Wonder, Matthew, the book of Matthew. That's all it says. There's no title about anything. And lo and behold, the way God shows up, the whole sermon is Philip preaching about the church beginning to explode in growth, all the while his dad is dying. I could have picked any video. I wish I was making this up. It's fucking ridiculous. And the purpose of the sermon is, and he uses his hands like this. He says, here, I'm getting what I wanted. People are listening to the message. I'm preaching the gospel. God's will for my life is being unfolded. And here, I just want my dad to get better.
Yeah.
I'm getting everything that I want on paper, but I just want God to answer this prayer. That's exactly what was happening to me. This was right around the time the Instagram finally took off. The TikTok had just hit 2 million followers. And everything was happening on paper. I was blowing up. And I should be on top of the world, and I don't give a fuck about any of it.
Yeah.
I remember praying for him to just take it all away to make him well again.
Yeah.
And the purpose of that message was the tension between God's will for your life and what you want God to make your will for your life. And that's exactly what I was living in. And so when you ask me, has it humbled me? Yes. I love and am grateful for the fact that I get to work for myself. I get to serve people. I get to make money and a living doing it. I get to have all of the coolest perks of building a brand online that I talked about, the tactical stuff of the importance of building a brand for yourself, because I think everybody should. It has perks. It's fun in a worldly way. It's exciting. But I'm totally detached from it.
Yeah.
Because I know what matters. And I want people to be tread carefully and lightly when they have things like internet notoriety and money and success or women or male attention. It can all be stripped from you in a moment and none of it matters. And I know now what matters is the people that I love and how I honor people and how I serve people and how I serve God. And if this didn't happen, I may be a arrogant, airheaded prick because of everything that had happened the last 3 years. I hope not. My parents raised me really well, my mother and father. I don't talk about my mom a lot, but she's a sweet angel, a beautiful woman. I called her on the way here. I love you, Mom. Her name's Beverly. I'm humble because my ego was obliterated. It was shattered. It was destroyed. And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
Because nothing matters but how we treat others and how we serve others and who we love on and that we love on everybody.
Yeah. We had crazy. Our first ever episode was with Brandon Collinsworth, and it's our most viral clip to date. And he says in the clip, he says, "Let me tell you, bro, when your parents pass, you'll be changed forever." He says, "I would give up everything to have one more conversation with my mom." He said, to be able to call your mom, to be able to call your dad, to hear them bicker and go through their ways, it's a blessing. He said, when I saw my mom in the morgue, it fucked me up. When I saw my dad in the morgue, it fucked me up because they never come back. And the lesson he left with me and everyone who was listening was, he says, if you have your parents alive still, lean in and have the conversations that you need to have. And don't let your ego get in the way of saying what you need to say, because one day you won't have the opportunity to do so. And the reason I bring that up is because you still have one parent here. And I want to know what you want to know from your mom.
It's funny you bring that up. And also very true. I hope everybody that hears this hears you. Like I said earlier, I want you to listen to me. I want them to listen to you. I want them to understand that whatever you have going on in a relationship with your parents, if it's mendable, mend it. It's not worth it. And I've made that video before, and people will say, but you just don't understand. This is what it always comes back to. You just don't understand. My situation's different. I'm special. I'm unique. No, you're not. You're hurt. They're hurt. If you can suspend the ego long enough to say what you need to say, even if it's, hey, mom, hey, dad, you hurt me, and I just need you to hear it. Independent of how they receive it, because maybe they can't, because they don't know how. I don't know. But if you have a living parent that you're on the outs with, estranged from, and there is the potential to repair it in some capacity, you have to. You have to. So I wanted to reiterate the importance of what you just said, because someone will always say, but you just don't understand, it's different with me.
Yeah. We had so many comments just in the comment section with that exact narrative. You don't get it. My parents are like this. How naive, how ignorant.
You won't be saying that when they're being wheeled out.
And interestingly enough, Brandon didn't meet his dad till he was 26.
Wow.
And his mom was addicted to drugs and alcohol. Like his mom, there was dysfunction. And so similar to what you say, that message falls on deaf ears with someone who actually has had the dysfunctional family that everybody's trying to make the excuses to the reason why they can't mend it.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. I'm glad that you shared that piece, because I think that'll be an important. Someone's getting Twitter fingers going and going,
fuck.
You got me.
But what else could I say?
But why else am I different, unique, and special?
How else can I remain a victim to my life here? What else can I come up with? What do you want to know from your mom, man?
I want to know more about why she has the heart that she does. You know, my dad used to call my mom an earthbound angel, and that she was the sweetest woman in the world. And when I asked him, how'd you know the second time that you needed to marry her? Because remember, they dated, they broke up, and they both married other people. And they didn't get back together till almost 20 years later.
That's insane.
Pretty crazy story.
They dated, when did they date?
26 to 28.
And then broke up. Married different people. And 20 years later remarried.
My mom married my dad at 40. Had me at 41.
Which is really late.
Really late.
The chances of that happening are really small.
And high risk. You know, I say all the time, I should have come out way more fucked up than I am.
I should have come out way more fucked up.
It's a miracle I'm only this obtuse. I want to know what makes her so loving, giving, and open-hearted to people, almost to a fault. And I say that part with love. You know, the epitome of Christ-like love in the Bible is not, the goal to be a Christian is not to read your Bible. It's not to go to church. It's to live like Christ. That's what we're called to do. And I think one of the most paramount teachings in the Bible is Luke chapter 6. Love those who hate you. Pray for your enemies. If someone slaps you, be quick to offer them the other cheek. If someone takes the jacket off your back, do not hesitate to give them your shirt too. This is the words of Jesus in the gospel. It's in red in my Bible. That's when Jesus speaks. And whether you're a believer or not, it is the only way to live. And my mom is such a testament to that kind of love for people, to strangers, to the people over the years that we'd welcome into our home because they needed a place to stay. I mean, there's more than a few.
Yeah.
Friends of family, family friends, distant family members that came to live with us. You know, my dad's best friend, who was a recovering drug addict, lived with us for a while when I was like 10. My brother's best friend, who needed to get back on his feet, came and lived with us for 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if you'll get this because they don't really have them out here. You're born and raised born in England, raised in California, but back home we have a restaurant called the Waffle House.
Okay.
24 hours, 7 days a week. It never closes. And my dad used to say, we're like the Waffle House. We got locks on the doors. We just don't use them. And that's how our house was. And my mom, the maker of the home, the mother, she was the pillar of that. And I think there's part of me that just wants to understand more of why she is that way and how. She's so quick to love and open her heart to people, open her home to people, to help people. And it's just like instinct to her. And I don't know if it's a learned behavior or if she has always been that way. And it comes, you know, everything comes at a weight or a price. She has a heavy conscience. She worries a lot. You know, sometimes I had to stop telling her, asking me what's wrong when I call. I'm just saying hi.
What's wrong?
Nobody's dead.
No. Yeah.
She'll wake up in the middle of the night worrying about me, about nothing. But it's on the opposite side of that is this heart that is just warm and full of love. And it's taught me a lot about what I'm looking for in a woman. There's this attribute of warmth that my mom has that I really understand. You know, they say we marry our mothers. And if you're a woman, you marry your father. But there's attributes in those characters that you look for in a romantic partner. And my mom just is a magnet for people. And it's warmth. It draws you in. And it's really, I didn't know I was even looking for that in a woman. And now I'm like, oh yeah, I need that attribute. And I'm grateful for that. I mean, that's going to be instrumental in my wife.
Yeah.
So I think one thing I want to dive more deeply into conversation with her is, have you always been that way? Is it hard to be that way? Do you wish you weren't? And how do you do it? Because I think sometimes my default mode is a little bit more closed.
Yeah.
I have to intentionally outwardly work through that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of your mom and what she's taught you about what you want in a woman, are you dating?
I took some time off.
Took some time off.
Had an off season. Yeah. Open. In the midst of something.
Here we go.
Hey there, internet.
Hello.
This is gonna get clipped and sent.
It's
Yeah. I'm in the midst of something with someone that feels really special.
Oh, wow.
Early stages, but feels really special and different and has that warmth. And she's really awesome. And I can't believe I'm talking about it publicly on a podcast right now. I'm going to start blushing.
You already are.
It's such a, shit. I can feel my cheeks getting red. It's a part of my life I keep very private.
Yeah.
And, you know, part of that is actually shifting topics a bit. This is an interesting dynamic of what we do for work. The notoriety of what we do and the parasocial nature of what we do is, there was a woman in my life that I posted a few times and it didn't work out. And people started asking questions and digging, where is she? And then our mutual friend, Chris Griffin, and I did a podcast shortly after that relationship didn't work out. And he happened to ask me a question about heartbreak. And that clip went very viral. And people started making correct assumptions about a breakup. And by the end of it, her government name and my government name were a blue text popular search in the video.
Wow.
And she was reaching out to me like, I have people coming to my page asking me about this. Like, I didn't ask for this. What did you do? I didn't do anything. I preserved anonymity. So I say all this to say there's a caution that I'll always have to dating until I'm married, with that protection for them and for our relationship. But yeah, I'm in the midst of something that feels very unique and I'm very grateful for it.
And what are the traits of her that you feel you remind you of your mom in the most beautiful ways?
The open and warmth, the open heart, the warmth, kindness as a default is really interesting. I've never really experienced in my dating life.
Yeah.
And in just human nature, I think you can only meet somebody as deeply as they've met themselves. And a lot of times a default position for people is protection.
Yeah. Yeah.
If if I come to you with a concern, it's not criticism, it's a concern, and I just want to talk about it. But if someone has a history of baggage or past relationships, they can then project what you mean onto you and make it mean something about them.
Absolutely.
You know, if I'm saying that I have a concern or I just want to have a discourse of a heavy conversation, it doesn't mean anything about you. I just want to talk. But I've been met with a guardedness or a protection or even a hostility at times, and all worked through more or less. But her default mode is kindness. And I think that that's important for people who are dating or looking for a partner. When you have discourse, the default needs to be kindness. The default needs to be like you're not arguing, but like you're searching for the goal in common.
Yeah.
You're seeking resolution.
Yeah.
And you're moving in parallel and hopefully closing the gap.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, and I've never experienced that, and I didn't even really know it was possible, but we've had some challenging conversations. And I've stopped in the middle. I was like, I just really appreciate how sweet you're being right now.
Oh,
I mean, you could call what I'm saying a criticism. You could feel offended, but you're not, because you know, you assume the best in me.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. She assumes the best in me.
Yeah.
And I assume the best in her. And I've been guilty of assuming the worst intent of people in a relationship. And we're all guilty of that too.
Yeah.
You're coming to me and you want to criticize me and I want to protect myself. So I'm going to cause an argument and not hear you out.
Yeah.
Ears closed when fight or flight turns on.
Yeah.
I think the last thing is her communication is very strong, which is quite important to me. Communication is a big part of what I do. Emotional intelligence. I said a couple of days ago that I think most people are walking around deeply emotionally stunted. A lot of men are walking around with the EQ of a 14-year-old and they're 30.
Yeah.
And it takes a very special person willing to go to the parts of themselves that they don't like to have a high level of emotional intelligence. If you and I are having a conversation and you trigger me, I can point out and say, hey, this is making me feel a bit insecure. I'm noticing it, but I want to have a discourse with you. I want to keep talking. I know that you're not trying to do that to me. I know that that's about me. You're mirroring something back to me that I haven't worked through fully yet.
Yeah.
She does that.
Wow.
I've never experienced that.
Wow.
And it's really powerful and it's really rare. And that's a place that I encourage. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to tell her. I talked about you on a podcast. She's going to go, what? I really want everyone to have that. I want everyone to know that they can have that. I think that there's also a lot of people out there in relationships that are either bad or just good enough. And living in the just good enough is a very bad place to be. And a place that I was in many ways in my life, professionally, romantically, personally. You can actually have a partner that possesses qualities that you thought impossible. And I kind of feel like that's where I'm headed.
Wow.
It's going to be really awkward if it doesn't work out in a year.
I heard Russ, the artist.
Yeah, he's from Georgia.
Yes. One of my favorites. It's like, for me, he's like, in soccer, the term is Ballon d'Or, like GOAT, the best. I'd love to have him on the show. But I heard him on Jay Shetty's podcast, and Jay Shetty asked him, what's the worst advice you've ever received and what's the best advice you've ever received? The worst was be realistic. And the best advice he's ever received was, what if it could turn out better than you imagined? What if it could turn out better than you imagined? And it sounds like the message that you're sharing in that, for most men who've maybe given up on what might be this angel-like woman, you feel like you might have found some aspects of things that you didn't know were possible.
And it scared me a little bit to feel like I've kind of headed towards this thing that I thought wasn't attainable, and I feel like I'm beginning to attain it. And this is an interesting dynamic too, because it's important to call out. A lot of you motherfuckers don't deserve that woman. Not saying I do. You have to become someone worthy of a very special person. You have to be special.
Yeah.
You have to fortify yourself. You have to build yourself.
Yeah.
You know, I made a video the other day that I'm getting a ton of heat about. How to find the right woman is a question someone asked me. A young kid, probably 21. Dude, I'm just dating around. Like, how do I find the right girl? You don't find the right woman. You become the man worthy of a woman like that coming into your life. They say in Genesis, when man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. That's not in Genesis. It's in another book. Someone's going to correct me on that. When man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. That's in the Bible. But my friend Trevor, Christian creator, says the Hebrew translation actually literally translates to when a man stumbles upon a wife, he finds a good thing. That doesn't sound like looking for.
No.
That sounds like you're in the woods and you trip over a root. You go, I didn't know that was there. And my friend Gabriel, I'll reference this directly because I think it's really important to the conversation, and we just talked about it yesterday. Gabriel is a Christian content creator. He actually interviewed Pastor Philip. And I asked him, I said, what are the things you said that Adam had before God gave him Eve? And he has a video on it that's really great. But in short, he writes, identity, these are the things that a man should have before he believes he is worthy or really could be able to attain the right woman. He had identity, a place, purpose, provisions, parameters, and sacrifice. Those 6 things. So if you don't have an identity, if you don't know who you are and what you're here to do, you're not striving for something, it's probably not the right time. You're not at least headed in that direction. A place, a home, provision, a sense of stability in your life. Purpose. It's a big word. It's a big word. That's what my whole tour is based around. It's called the purpose progression. Provisions. Can you provide for a woman if she comes into your life? You making money? You have a job? Are you stable income-wise? Parameters. Parameters in terms of what you're looking for clearly. What do you need clearly? What are your standards? What are your do's, don'ts, green flags, red flags? What are you looking for? You say you're looking for the right woman, but you don't even know what the hell it looks like. Figure it out. There are boxes that need to be checked, standards that need to be met for each party. And the last one's sacrifice. I think that's an interesting one. And I'm not entirely sure, because I didn't listen to the full video Gabe sent me yet around what he means. But to me, there's an aspect of being a man and being in a masculine place that is giving, to sacrifice for others. To serve others is sacrificial in nature. Jesus washed the feet of his disciples before he was killed. He's on his knees washing their feet. They're his Lord and Savior. Another one of those things, whether you're a believer or not, it's a pretty damn good way to live life. So men having a sacrificial element to what they do, are you giving up something for yourself for the greater good of the people ahead of you and in front of you? And if you're doing that, those 6 things aligned is when the Bible says, and God wrote, I will bring you a helper, a wife. And so I think men need to realize they need to stop looking for the right woman and start becoming the man that's worthy of attracting the right woman. What's the phrase? Don't chase butterflies, build a garden. Simple.
Yeah. My friend said that a mentor of his once shared with him that you don't get to attract your queen in the absence of the pursuit of becoming a king. And she, like you said, shows up as a mere reflection of everything that you've become.
And probably when you least expect it.
I mean, that's my story with my girlfriend as well.
Stumbled upon.
And it was actually the moment I said, I am going to go into a single season for some time. And there she was.
What happened? How did that transpire?
This has a little bit of background and context in the sense that I've spent a lot of my life, I don't really like to use this word, but I'll use it for the absence of a better term, healing from what my therapist calls disorganized attachment. And that is as a result of, again, all reverence to my family because they did the best that they could, but learning as a child that I have to tread on eggshells because I don't know when I'm going to get love and lose love. And so the Gabor Mate quote is that as a child, when authenticity threatens attachment always wins. And so I chose to abandon myself a lot in relationship with my family, and then inevitably as I was growing up with women, and I attracted many relationships with avoidant women who I didn't know if they actually even fucking liked me, and we were in relationship together. And I'd been on this trip around the world, Barcelona, Bali, India, and I remember being in a silent retreat, my first ever one of Vipassana. It was 6 days, 6-day silent retreat. On the final day, we had this beautiful 70-something-year-old teacher with long silver hair. And right before we were coming out of the silence, breaking our silence, she had us stand up with our eyes closed and she put a song on. And she said, while we were swaying to the music, she said, I just want you to not think about the music, but become one with the song. The fuck does that mean? I have no fucking clue what that means. But okay, I'll give it a go. No one's looking at me while all our eyes are closed. I'm moving the music. And she said, to dance is to surrender yourself to the divine, so that when you're still, you will find that the divine lives within you. And she then proceeded that with, your job is to find your dance. And at that time, I realized that I had been so deeply in pursuit of love that I'd lost sight of the other things that I love, which is my sense of purpose, my career path, all the things that I love about myself, I'd forgotten to nurture and nourish. And in that moment, I decided I'm going to date myself. And I think what collapsed in that moment of deciding that I'm going to date myself was a level of self-love that I'd never previously felt. Because I turned my attention away from something external, the feminine, a woman, the need, the desperation for a woman, and I turned it into me. I oriented my perspective back at me. And in that moment, I felt a new level of self-love that I'd never felt before. And I suppose in the vein of sort of divine synchronicity, the reflection of my own self-love was a woman that could meet me as a whole fucking woman, not because of my desperation for her, but because I had pulled all the energy of desperation away from the feminine and brought it back to me. And I was walking with more conviction, more power, more assuredness than maybe I ever had in my life. And so I got back from India, and there's a cold plunge company that's no longer in business called Edge Theory Labs. You know Edge?
I'm not familiar.
They were the first ever portable cold plunge company ever to exist. They were doing like $20 million within their first 2 years, I believe.
Shit.
And within 2 weeks of being back in San Diego, they had this event called Sunrise Social Club. And it was their first event, and I showed up late. And there was a woman there. And this woman happened to be the director of marketing for the company, who I found out later was quite literally responsible for virtually most of their success. The entire brand was built on her name. And you talk about like the divine sort of grace of God. I grew up as a Catholic, but I don't currently identify with a religion. And it's a question I want to ask you. Do you identify as a Christian? I don't currently at all. But the quote that I referenced from you before, that you've had experiences of God, that it's undeniable, the truth of a higher power pulling threads on your life. Josh Church, who's the founder of Edge Theory Labs, we had him on the podcast, and he said, I believe with my whole heart I'm on the path of least resistance. I believe with my whole heart I'm on the path of least resistance. So I meet this girl, and we have this interesting connection. I feel something, but I'm in a solo season. God, that's not for me now. You know, there's a quote in, you ever read the book Conversations with God?
Mm-mm.
There's a quote in Conversations with God in which the voice of God in this book says, I can't tell you my truth until you stop telling me yours. And I was ignorant to, I'm so committed that I'm dating me that I blinders. But the beautiful thing I think about God and his plan is that he'll start with a whisper and it'll end with a scream. And we just had these moments that kept happening where it was virtually unavoidable. And the one that seemed to be so fucking like this, there's something here. Nectarine Grove. You been to Nectarine Grove?
No, not yet.
Nectarine Grove is a restaurant in Encinitas, in Leucadia. And I was pulling in when the interesting thing about Nectarine Grove is you park on the side of the road, but it's so busy that there's never any parking. And there's a one spot parking lot right here. And I get to the restaurant this one day, and there's the parking spot's open. And I pull forward and I put my reverse on to back into the parking spot. And as you talk about, your dad said, look forward, look behind, and as I turn around to back in, she's pulling in to the spot. And in essence, that was the 5th or 6th time that something had pulled us by the divine grace of God back together, and we ended up having dinner that day, and that solidified for me that my plan is fucking bullshit. Like, really. And that was one of the greatest lessons I've taken from that. The plan that I have for my life is bullshit. And if I can surrender what I think my plan is, I will realize that all I have is an intention. All I have is an intention. One of my early mentors, Juvan Langford, said, "Your role, Billy, is only to know the why. The how is none of your business." The how is none of your business. And she's a testament to the fact that, I want a family, I want a partner, I want to build a form of generational wealth. I want to impact millions of people through my content. And there's nothing that has given me more peace than the understanding that my only role is to know why I'm doing it. The how is up to God. And so you ask, like, what is the story behind that? I think it's a story of my fight with my own ego until I was ready to let go and realize that she's right fucking in front of you. She's right there, you know? Yeah, and I pinch myself every time because, I mean, I'm sure you know this, being in a relationship now in some way. I don't know how deeply you are in the relationship, but like, nothing has ever challenged me more than this woman.
Yeah, it will reveal to you parts of yourself that you could not have possibly unveiled without her being there.
No.
I think we can only go so far in healing and learning ourselves. There is some healing that can only take place in a romantic relationship.
Yeah.
You can only go so far by yourself. And I think it's an interesting point to notice that you hit this point of genuinely liking who you are around the time you found someone who could also do the same. Because when you said when authenticity threatens attachment, we always choose attachment. That's how that disorganized attachment style is formed. It's only at the point when you feel deeply rooted in your identity,
yes,
and you love that version of yourself, that energy, that space, your energy you're putting into loving who you truly are, who God designed you to be, that now the good thing can take its place.
Mm-hmm.
It can be, it's like it's been right here on the other side of a door the whole time.
I know.
And you just had to fucking open it.
Open the door. And interestingly enough, if I keep the door open, I realize more and more that the things that most activate me in my partner are the voice of God inviting me to become more. When I think she's nagging, that's God asking me, do I have the capacity to be more in this moment? When she's fucking on my nerves and like, oh my God, like when every part of me wants to run away, there's God right there, inviting me to become more of myself through, again, we've brought his name up on a couple of times this podcast, but Peter Crone, life will present you with people and circumstances to reveal where you're not free. Here she is. And when every part of me wants to run, that's where my growth edge is.
And it's always worth it.
It's always worth it. It's always worth it because the depth of love that I feel here could not be touched if I'd have ran as soon as I would have and have in other relationships prior. And I've touched a place in which it's given me a new definition for what love is. And it has, in high school, we all, like, I used to say, like, fuck, like, there's nothing more important than physical attraction. Like, I can't get to this place in which I can, like, when the love dies or when the attraction and the spark dies, love will be left. I collapse love with this sense of infatuation and desire. And like you said, when there's some things that you know and then you finally know. And this relationship has given me an entirely new definition on love. And that's
beautiful.
Magical. Yeah.
I think you just gave a lot of dudes hope. A lot of people hope.
I hope so.
It's out there, dude.
It's out there. I want to do this thing with you, mate, that is really fascinating for me, and it is the underpinning of your philosophy, that it is simple, but am I getting it right? it's simple, but it isn't easy.
It isn't easy, but it is simple.
It isn't easy, but it's simple. And I want to ask you to give me the it isn't easy, but it is simple version of what I would consider some of the most complex topics
This ought to be fun.
known to man.
Let's rock.
I'm hoping that we'll start more simply, and then maybe we get to some of the more ethereal.
Yeah, warm me up a little bit. Let me loosen up before we get into the hard stuff.
I mean, in the vein of what we were just talking about, I hope this is a warm-up, but I want the it isn't easy, but it is simple version of dating as a man in 2026.
Take care of your body. Take care of your mind. Build a relationship with God. Practically, eat well, train hard, sleep. Read, learn, develop. Push yourself. Pick a big challenge every year that scares you. Do it. And build a relationship with God. You build a relationship with God practically and tactically through asking Him to reveal Himself to you, prayer, and reading the Word of God. 6 steps? Train, eat, sleep, read, learn, push yourself, pray, and ask. So less than 8 steps, 9 steps.
Boom. Clear. Next one. In that vein, because you mentioned that we had this conversation about you can't call in a queen if you're not operating as a king. One of the greatest hidden demons affecting men today is porn. Give me your it isn't easy, but it's simple version of breaking a porn addiction.
You don't want to watch pornography. You want the feeling that watching the pornography gives you. What are you searching for when you're doing the thing? Halt. It's a great framework in psychology. We make most poor decisions when we're halt, hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. You want to watch porn? Are you hungry? Are you pissed off? Are you avoiding that stimulus? Are you lonely? Call somebody. Call a friend. Call a buddy. We were talking about this last night, watching pornography, me and some friends, a group of guys talking about the power of bringing light to sin. Sin can only thrive in the darkness. When it's brought to the light, it dies. If you're thinking about doing something you know you shouldn't do, call somebody. Tell them you want to do it. Or you're tired. Our inhibitions and our executive function is lowered when we're sleepy. Go the fuck to bed. Go to bed. And my dad would say, like, if you still want to do the stupid thing in the morning, then you can talk about it. You won't. It's an emotional decision. We don't want to do the thing. We want the feeling that we think the thing will give us. So overall, run an audit on yourself. Figure out what you were trying to get from the behavior. What greater sense of psychological safety or physical sensation. Find a way to redirect it. I'll add one more thing to that. This is where that Goggins mentality can come in and be helpful. I'm about compassion, empathy, self-awareness, self-love, and self-work. Sometimes I just got to tell myself before I'm going to do a stupid thing, you're fucking better than that. That's disgusting. Stop being a bitch. That's the David Goggins approach. I love that clip of him. Maybe you are just a bitch. If that doesn't work, if the empathy framework doesn't work, grit yourself out of it that time and it might get a little bit easier next time.
Every time you bring up your dad because of what you shared with your grandfather, I want to ask you what he'd say, your grandfather. What would he have said on that? Breaking a porn addiction. What would he have said?
Honestly, the fuck you want? You want to watch other people have sex? What are you, gay? Seriously, I'm serious. He'd be like, what the fuck do you mean you want to watch other people do that? If anything, just go do it. That's dead ass what he would have said. Swear to God. I grew up in 1930. We didn't have computers. What do you mean you want to go watch somebody do it? Just go do it.
You know what I'd fucking love? Would it be hilarious? What's your grandfather's name?
His name was Henry.
Henry. If we could have had a Michael and Henry, like, face off between it isn't easy, but it isn't easy, but it is simple, and see who could make it easier and simpler.
Probably him.
Probably.
And it would be a lot funnier.
What are you, gay? That's fucking hilarious. Right, next one. Give me your version of this on self-love.
My it isn't easy, but it is simple version of loving yourself. Put yourself in positions that force you to find out what you're made of and realize that you are made of what you thought you weren't. This is why I love physical challenges. The first time I ever truly believed in myself was the first time I ran a marathon. And the person who's never done it cannot draw the line between those two things. But it's the behavior of deciding to do something that you literally think isn't possible for you, and then you do it. And then you realize, wow, I can actually do some pretty amazing things. Someone worth loving can do some pretty amazing things, probably. You need to challenge yourself and push yourself daily, weekly, and then on a grand scale, yearly. You need to pick something every year that scares the shit out of you. I've got mine.
What show is this year?
The tour. I'm scared.
Yeah.
It's bringing up that same programming of that 8-year-old kid that would say, like, what if nobody comes to my birthday party?
Yeah.
You know, what if I walk out to an empty theater? I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm worried.
Yeah.
That's my Masogi, is sell out the tour. Understand through building a relationship with God the power of not what the world says about you, but what he has already said about you. You are made in the image of him. You are special. You are unique. You're put here to serve and love others. When you look at God's promise, what he said about you, it makes what you fear the world might say about you very insignificant because it feels true to read. It's food for the spirit. It's oxygen for the soul. And that's part of why a relationship with God is so important. So I don't care what you say about me. I know it was already said about me. And lastly, I think through this self-actualization we talked about earlier is to explore the parts of you that think you are unlovable. Mine, what will they think of me? One of my theses for life is that the thing that holds people back is the fear of perception. It's like Gary Vee said to me once you realize that everybody's just a hurt 15-year-old walking around, the playing field becomes level. Everybody's just a middle schooler that wants to fit in. And the things that I hid from the world, that we all hide from the world, the things that make us authentically us, that maybe led us to being told we were too much or not enough, too loud, too quiet, too expressive, too morose. Those are the very things that make us unique in the world. The very things that I tried to hide to fit in because what will they think of me are the very things that gave me my platform. And exploring those parts of yourself that think you're unlovable and telling them it's okay, exploring the emotion fully and realizing that's actually what makes me incredible. You just haven't found the people that make you realize that yet. That's love.
Banger. Next one. Public speaking.
Two things. Fear of perception, which I mentioned earlier. You're not worried about just what people will think of you because it's not even the fear of public speaking, which, by the way, is the number one fear ahead of death for many people. The great adage, I'd rather be in the casket than given the eulogy. People are terrified to public speak, but it's not because they're scared to talk on a stage. It's because they're scared of what people might think of them if they misstep, misspeak, or say something wrong or stupid. Deeper than that, I believe, and I think Peter Crone alludes to stuff like this, you're not, or a principle similar to this, you're not afraid of what people will think about you. You're afraid of what you think about you. You're afraid that what they might think about you will confirm the deep, dark belief that you have in yourself and that it doesn't align with the narrative you're trying to project and peacock to the world. Deep down, I think I'm stupid and I'm not enough. So if you think I'm stupid and not enough, it confirms what I already fear to be true. That's what you're afraid of. How do you beat it? Reps. Reps, reps, reps. First time you ever went to the gym, you picked up a dumbbell, it hurt. Your hands are soft and it presses right there on the skin and it burns a little bit. And then you keep going and you get these things on your hands, these big fat calluses, right? It doesn't hurt anymore. You don't even think about it when you pick up the barbell or you put the bar on your back. It just doesn't hurt anymore because you've hardened the hand. You've built the callus. The unfortunate part about public speaking is that the most commonly asked question I get, what books should I read on public speaking? I got really bad news. Reading is not going to make you a better speaker. Speaking is. You have to go directly into it. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure which you seek. Or Carl Jung, where your fear is, there your task is. That's my motto for the entire year. If you're afraid to public speak, it's time for a little bit of exposure therapy. If you can just do that for 100 days, if you can public speak for 100 days straight, posting online, it will change your entire life. Whether you go viral or not, it will change your entire life.
And it has for people that have followed your guidance. What's the name of the guy? Was it on my how do you spell his name?
Jett Franzen?
Yeah. Can you listen to that?
Yeah, sure.
Just press
The voice
on
memo?
the voice memo.
The blue one or his?
His.
Okay.
What's up, Michael? It's Jet here. When you're in the public eye and you're so visible online, you get a lot of people that will tell you, oh my gosh, you helped change my life for the better. And that's always a good thing. But sometimes you sit there and think, oh, did I actually? Or you don't really internalize it. But I just want to tell you my story, which you already know, but I was a senior in college headed for a corporate job that I really didn't want to work. I've been seeing your videos for quite some time, and I decided to just give the Higher Boldness Public Speaking Challenge a shot. And so I started it. I did it for 100 days straight. And when I finished it, I was at over 200,000 followers. I mean, it just objectively completely changed my life. And that was something that obviously was inspired by you. And I just wanted to let you know, man, it's not just for myself, but for so many other people that have gotten to witness your knowledge, wisdom, content, that you truly do make an impact. And I think that that is something that's invaluable. And I think whatever you do for the rest of your life, you can always look back and think to yourself, wow, I actually made a difference. So cheers to you, brother.
You're good at this. Whatever you do, you can look back on your life and say, wow, I made a difference.
What does it mean to you knowing you've impacted his life and many more beyond him?
Thank you for that first off. That's pretty incredible.
I'll send it to you beyond this.
That you did that. I said this on the podcast with Chris on Modern Wisdom, which Jet was just on. Jet was on fucking Modern Wisdom. So cool.
So good.
My dad said when he gets to the end of his life, because we started talking about that a lot the last 30 days. We were talking about what matters. And by this point, we had done those interviews and I had heard stories about him that I had never heard before. So fun and hilarious and crazy and stupid, a lot of drunk lore and just funny stuff. But he said to me, I just hope that when I get wherever I'm going, that I can hear the words, well done, my good and faithful servant. You fought the good fight. You've run your race. And that's in the Bible. Well done, my good and faithful servant. The words we all hope to hear. And I guess in a way, it kind of makes me feel like I'm on the right track. It kind of makes me feel like I'm on the right track. So thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you, brother. Let's move on.
What a callback. In fact, you even thought to do that. That's pretty incredible.
It isn't easy, but it's simple. Masculinity. What makes a man?
Grounded in truth, even when it's uncomfortable. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. I'm going to tell you what is true at the expense of our friendship, our relationship, your perception of me, the world's perception of me. Peter Crone also says, tell the truth. Lying is boring. Everybody does that. Above all else, tell the truth. And I think a good man will always tell you the truth. I think that's it.
We're not there yet, not that we know of, but parenting.
Oh, God.
What do you think is the most important?
Not that we know of is a key word.
Not that we know of.
Something illegitimate in South America, maybe. No.
Yeah. What is the most important thing a parent can give a child?
Their time. Their time. Another thing my dad used to say, he loved quotes. I wonder if that's where I got my love of aphorisms from. You're a fellow aphorism lover.
That's why I'm geeking out
As is Elliot, as is Chris. We love these punchy quotes and phrases and beliefs that have a broader meaning for life.
Big time.
And one of my dad's favorite was, how do you spell love? Time. Time. I have a video on my phone. I don't know how quickly I could pull up the photo. I don't know if the video would be as feasible.
Take your time if you want to find it.
Where are we? 2025, 2024. Let's see if I could locate it. It might be. You can't hear it. This is January 16th, 2025.
I can't hear it?
I don't know if you can. Yeah, you can't really hear it. The audio is mute. He's so weak. I've never showed anybody this. I've only watched it a handful of times. This is 3 days before my dad died. He's a little jarring to look at, so just be aware of that. But I'll just let you press play on that. Just kind of perceive the situation a little bit.
Yeah, so he's in the hospital bed.
Yeah. We love you too. Stage. You. And I have a cart. I got a cart.
He's giving him shit about something they did on the golf course. Those are my dad's best friends. It's Brian and Jeff. And I don't have the whole conversation. Unfortunately. I do have that clip. And what he's saying in there, 3 days before he died, as he sits in the hospital bed, always said it, but it's just to hear it in that moment. He said, "Thank you for everything, but above all else, thank you for your time." He's the dying man in the hospital bed, thanking them for their time with him. And of course, they turn around and they go, "No, thank you. What are you talking about? Thank you." My dad always said that there's two things in the world they're never making more of: time and dirt. When someone gives you their time, treat it as such. Treat it accordingly. He valued time more than anything, right up until his last breath. And he let everybody else know. He wanted them to know how important they were for their time being given. And I think the thing that I'm most grateful for that both my parents gave me is their time. I don't ever want my kid to feel like I'm too busy for him, especially the lives that we're building and how chaotic they get, and the impulse travel and the leaving and the being on the move and the speed. I don't ever want my son or my daughter. I'm totally going to be a girl dad. I don't ever want them to feel like they're bothering me, and I want them to feel like they never have to hesitate to take some of my time, because I want to give it to them. And I think the most powerful thing that you can give a kid to make him feel important, make her feel loved, seen, heard, understood, is your time. That's it. Even if it's a little, and even if it seems insignificant to you.
Oh man, I got chills multiple times just hearing you and then watching the video, and I want you to know I feel honored. I know that that's something you hold close to your heart, so the fact that you felt comfortable to share it here means a great deal.
Of course.
He seems like an unbelievable man.
He was a stud, man.
Yeah,
he was a stud.
He seems it. Almost as good as your grandfather.
He is the origin, after all. He's the source.
He's the source. We got a few more here. Relationship dynamics. What does a man need to give a woman and a woman a man?
Simple. Desire for any man to be the masculine essence and energy. We want to feel desired, admired, and chosen. We want to know that you want us. We want to know that you're proud of us. And we want to know that you picked us because of the other two. Desired, admired, and chosen. The feminine wants to be seen, heard, and understood. They want to feel like you understand them. You know where they're coming from. You feel their emotions. You're in it with them. You can hold that space for them. What does every guy hear from his wife or girlfriend? You just never fucking listen to me. They want to feel seen, heard, and understood. Listen to them. Look them in the eyes. Face them. Don't talk until they're done talking. Make them feel those things. Now, the interesting thing is when those things get wounded, when a man becomes wounded or a woman becomes wounded, they flip. And, you have very masculine women that appear to want to be desired, admired, and chosen. And you have very feminine men who want to be seen, heard, and understood. I've heard girls say, I was dating this guy, but he's just like, I just want to talk. I just want to talk about my feelings because he's just never had the chance to properly and healthfully express that. He deserves that still. But on the front end, typically men want to be desired, admired, and chosen. And then when we feel a degree of safety, we want to be seen, heard, and understood with the woman.
Wow.
And it's the inverse for a woman.
Wow.
Make her feel seen, make her feel heard, make her feel understood. And then let her know you desire her, she's beautiful, you choose her, and you're proud of her. Simple. Inverses of each other.
I think you just saved a lot of relationships. You got this philosophy down, mate.
A lot of trial and
A
error.
lot of trial and error. That's good. This can be quite a controversial one in the world, but religion.
Relationship over religion. Relationship over religion. I have a relationship with Christ and a relationship with God through Christ. Not because I go to church, but because of how he's shown up, because I read the word for myself. Something a lot of Christians are lost on is they just read the Bible at church and it's a passage. No, you need to read it like it's a book and you're in it.
Yeah.
You need to be in the word by yourself, taking notes, underlining. You need to build a relationship. Ask. You have not because you ask not. Ask with utmost certainty as if it is already done and it will be given unto you. You ask for those things. You see how God provides. And so stop focusing on, and this is another thing I want to point out. A lot of people have been hurt by the church. I'm angry at Christianity. No, you're not angry at God. You're angry at the church. You're angry at the way that man twisted and turned the word of God. That was not God. That was man. That's a very important distinction. Yeah. So if you don't know where to start with church or Bible study, focus on relationship over religion. And that is reading, that is prayer, and a less talked about piece that is, in Philip Mitchell's words, not optional, fasting. If you want to gain clarity on anything, fast. Stop eating for 2 days. Don't consume a shitload of social media. Pray in a fasted state. Journal in a fasted state. Ask for the things you need clarity on, the big stuff in a fasted state, and just watch what happens. So it's a superpower. And spiritually speaking, the belief is when we weaken the physical body, we strengthen the spiritual antennas. Break the flesh, the spirit becomes louder.
How often do you fast?
At least three times a year.
3 times a year?
At least. I'll throw in a few 24 or 36 hours here and there.
And it's 48 hours?
48 to 72. A lot of people will, like my church 2819, they'll do a 7-day as a church, Sunday to Sunday. My friend Gabriel leads multiple 5 days. I'm due for one of those eventually.
What's the longest you've done?
72 hours.
72.
3 days. Water, electrolytes.
Yeah, I've done a 72-hour once as well, but 7 days, nothing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty crazy.
Pretty crazy. That leads us beautifully into the next one. We've hinted on it in so many moments today. God.
It isn't easy, but it is simple of God. To me, God is a much simpler explanation of the universe and the divine beauty, order, and placement of it than anything else. The building of this creation lends itself towards the pinnacle of a creator more than just, to me, it's all an accident or it all just feels infinitely more complex to understand. And maybe that's my own small human mind, but just like a yes, the belief in God just makes more sense. And not because I don't want to figure out the mysteries of the universe, but because of how it feels when I lean into the way that things are, when I look at things that I say couldn't be a coincidence, when I see how he has shown up for me. It just seems simple to go, yeah, creation, creator. That just makes sense to me. Deep in my bones, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that's all I got for that one.
That's all we need, mate. We got a couple more.
Sure.
losing a parent?
Feel it all. Feel all of it. Be mad. Be pissed. Be angry. Sob. Be sad. Be fearful. Be confused. And don't make it mean anything. Oftentimes there's a layer beyond the felt emotion that we can only get to after we've fully felt and explored the emotion. I was mad at my dad, and I was scared to be mad at my dad because when my dad was sick, I didn't have much time. I can't waste it being angry. And I'm so grateful for the coach that I worked with that I mentioned earlier, Kian, because he said, no, go all the way into the anger. Because only by going all the way into being angry at him, because he made certain lifestyle decisions that I wondered if that is what got him there. Only by navigating and going all the way into the feeling and whatever that physically looks like, could I get to the other side. On the other side of processed emotion is divine revelation. That all I really felt was scared. Most people aren't angry, they're scared. You're not mad, you're fearful. And I think we have a tendency as people to feel that emotions, specifically negative ones, aren't safe to feel. I'm scared to feel angry or sad because I'm scared where that leads me. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a bunch of people walking around with a bunch of suppressed anger that they're just fucking holding on to. Suppression of expression leads to depression. The journey of losing a parent, of a parent dying, is just that. It is a journey. I pray that I go to sleep one day and I just don't wake up. But the fact of the matter is that most of us aren't going to go that way. It's going to be slow. We're going to start to break down. Our friends are going to die. Our kids are going to get busy. The grandkids are going to stop calling. But at some point, you're going to have to come in and help as a kid. And just understand that if it's almost like I can say there's pros and cons to both. You know, I have a friend whose mother died suddenly from a heart attack, and the grief that leaves and the questions left unanswered, and why it's so important to suspend your ego while you have time and say the thing. And then the pain of slow grief. I had time with my dad, but I got to watch him waste away, and all the symptoms that he had from what was basically liver failure is a very nasty way to go. And so I would encourage anyone, anything you feel coming up, you need to feel it. Do not fight it, because if you don't, what you bury will eventually bury you. And it will run the show in your subconscious mind for your entire life, in your relationships, in your work, in everything that you do if you don't process it and move through it.
Man, I'm amazed.
Trial and error.
Trial and error. Two more. Death. What matters at the end of life?
That you made an impact. Did you serve people? Did you love people? And did you embrace the parts of life where you could do that otherwise seemed non-obvious? Did you say hi to the cashier at the grocery store and ask them their name and how their day's going? Because for all you know, you're the only person that's ever going to do that for the entire week. Did you call your mom? Did you call your brother? Did you call a friend? Just say, hey, just thinking about you. That's loving on people. That's serving them. That's sacrificing a bit of your time. That masculinity we talked about, that's sacrificing a bit of your time for the greater good of someone else or something else.
Yeah.
Did you empty the tank on your life? Did you serve others? Did you say yes to the thing that felt inconvenient or uncomfortable? And when you said no, did you say no because it was a no or because it was too scary to say yes? And on those, you say yes. When we get to the end of our life, I hope we all die tired. So I love that phrase. Tim Tebow says, I want to get to heaven exhausted. I want to be exhausted. I don't want to be well rested. And you do that through saying yes to the trips, having the pasta, having the wine, calling the friend, calling the brother, calling the mom, doing the thing that seems inconvenient at the time.
Yeah.
And loving on people and trying to make their lives a little better. I love the Zig Ziglar quote, you can have everything you ever wanted out of life if you help enough people get what they want. It's the root of my business.
Yeah.
And it always proves true. Every time. That's all I got on death.
Banger. Mate, the final one, this podcast, the mission and vision behind this show is to create spaces that afford people the opportunity to experience what it means to belong. Some for the first time, some in a new way. And so the final one I want to know from you on the it isn't easy, but it is simple is belonging.
You do belong. And if it doesn't feel like it, it's because you haven't found the place yet. There is a place for you. And one of it is in a deep relationship with the Lord and the promises he has for you and the plans he has for you and what he says about you. Always start there. But when you start showing up authentically, aligned, driven, there will be a period where you feel like things are maybe shedding off of you. People are shedding off of you, friends, relationships, maybe family members. And I remember that period. And I want to encourage those people who feel like they don't belong. If you continue to show up as God designed you to be, childlike, wondrous, curious, loving, kind, with a heart of servitude, the things that people who aren't prepared to be that way might call weird, goofy, eccentric, strange, uncomfortable, and you're aligned morally and ethically as a human being, you will find deeper, more meaningful relationships than you ever thought humanly possible. And I am living proof of that. I promise you. It might be 3 months. It might be 3 years. It will happen. It will happen. For when the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen.
Brother, this has been an unbelievable gift for me. Your commitment to service, your compassion, your generosity, your heart. You know, sometimes with your messaging, you can be piercing, but it's so evident to me that the piercing nature of the truths that you share are from a place of deep love and a deep commitment to be a good servant in the world. And I want to thank you for that in a world that is largely filled with people who are creating to satisfy and stroke their own ego. It is virtually unavoidable for me to recognize that this is, for you, it's not about you. It's far bigger and beyond you. And you treat that with the utmost respect, diligence, and integrity. And that is a fucking beautiful thing, especially as a man in a world in which we are desperate for good men. So thank you.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
And the same goes for you. Thank you for doing this and spreading a message that's worth listening to. And thank you for letting me be a part of it. More importantly, thank you for your time. I appreciate it more than you know. And I hope that people know that we love them. Above all else, we love them.
Yeah.
And we just want to help. I appreciate you, brother.
Before we close this out, the tour, what's happening with the tour?
The tour starts November 21st in Phoenix, Arizona. We are doing 15 seminars across North America. So that is the US and Canada. We are going to be doing an hour talk. I'm going to be giving a talk called The Purpose Progression, How to Live a Life of Purpose Through Service. And after that, I'll be doing an hour to hour and a half Q&A with the audience, live coaching in the seminar, and the opportunity to meet and hang out, take pics and say what's up on the front and back end of that. So 15 shows, 15 cities in the US and Canada, starting November 21st in Phoenix and ending December 20th in LA with the finale show. So it's going to be a sprint, 15 shows in 30 days, and 13 of them are in 17 days.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be a hell of a logistical effort, but I couldn't be more excited about it. It's all I can think about. It's all I'm working on right now. And I hope to see you, all of you guys,
Yes,
and anyone listening there.
we'll put the link in the show notes.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Beautiful. Thank you, mate.